This is JB McConville, a.k.a. J Business. I don't have any allegiance. I'm just looking for the money. You're listening to the DU Football Show.
I tell you, JB gives really good voice. He sounds great, but as I told Sam that show, he's douchier than Graham, and that's really hard to do, isn't it, boys? I mean, there isn't much douchier than Sam Graham in this world, is there?
I think you reached master level there.
Oh my gosh, especially with the whole Facebook Live thing while he was in England. Talk about somebody making it all about them fucking selves.
You can see his nose hair.
And I'm the egomaniac. Fucking hell. Let's start the show. Hello and welcome to the Drunkard United Football Show, a completely biased recap of the English Premier League as told by two common American schmucks. I am your host, Sam Huston, and across the way from me, to take the place of Mr. Graham, we found another Arsenal supporter, but our very, very dear friend, Robbie, how the fuck are you, man?
What's going on, Sammy?
It's good to see you, brother.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, not a problem, man. Not a problem at all. So, are you already fucking with the button?
I would just say someone would call this an upgrade.
Oh.
Well,
I mean, not that I don't enjoy looking over at Graham, but it's, I giggle every time I look over at Rob and his little beard looking back at me.
All right, all the mute button. And I'm your husband. You should only have googly eyes for me, woman.
What else is there to say? Can we just end this now?
Yeah. We're recording at Studio H, just outside our nation's capital. You can check us out on just about any podcast platform you can think of. Please rate, subscribe, review, and share with your friends. And should you want to chat with us, there's many ways that you can. So, Robbie, why don't you tell the good people how they get in touch?
Yeah, you can reach us by email at DUfootballshow@gmail.com and on all the socials also at DUfootballshow.
Fabulous. And also, welcome to all of the American Hammer TV people that have been checking us out. Had a blast this past Tuesday. Did the Fat, Drunken, Stupid fantasy show. Completely fucked up a player. The name Assassin struck again. I said, when they talked about who are great players on their team, I said Anultovich when I meant Yarmolenko. Fortunately, they were quick enough to correct me, and I was quick enough to admit that I fuck up on all names. Now, as I always like to say, Rob, you could just drive your happy ass over here. And against my better judgment, because he's on cloud fucking 9 right now, we welcome back our gobshite, copite, 6-0 fucking Liverpool fan, Josh. How you doing, sir?
Doing well. How you doing?
Good. Oh, I forgot. And Drunkard United teammate, by the way. So, the good one.
Minor details.
So, I work in the wine and spirits industry, but something you guys should be very aware of is that myself and Rob have two very deep, passionate loves. One's called whiskey. The other is called gin. We are simpatico that way. So, as the red-blooded Americans we are, we vow to have a drink in our hands throughout this show and every show. Rob, why don't you tell the good people what we're drinking tonight?
Yes, sir. We are drinking the Game of Thrones collection, Night's Watch edition of the Oban Reserve. It is part of Diageo's classic malt series. It is from the northern Highland part of Scotland. It has a faint hint of peat. It is 86 proof, and it runs on the shelves anywhere from $79.99 to $84.99.
And myself and Rob, about a month ago, I was feeling randy and bought all the Game of Thrones whiskeys. And Rob and I, in what was probably the greatest idea ever, decided to spend an entire night drinking all of them because that was a really good idea.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think you came home that night, actually.
No, I did not.
Did you guys cuddle?
He's the big spoon. You know this.
Only if he's got dreamy eyes, So, all right. Well then, hey boys, let's get into the show. Let's have a great show tonight. I keep trying to avoid talking about them, but I guess I finally have to. Let's open up with the thigh rubber of the weekend, boys. 6 straight. What is it? 15 straight wins, 23 straight positive results in the league, right?
Yeah.
The last year against Man City was your last loss, I believe.
Yeah.
So Liverpool 2, Chelsea 1. Whew. What a set-piece goal by Alexander-Arnold.
Absolutely unreal.
Man.
They definitely caught Chelsea by surprise, I think, because, you have Salah, Henderson, and Alexander-Arnold standing over the ball. I mean, And the fact that Salah just stepped over it, touched it, and that was just a rocket to the top right corner.
And they typically say with free kicks, like, do not do the pass. Like, run onto the ball straight and kick it. Do not do the touch away. It never works. And it was fucking brilliant.
It was perfect.
Yeah, and it's crazy because for the last 3 years, I think Alexander Arnold's taking our free kicks, and even though he's like a right back, but even if they didn't move it, he probably would have banged it anyway, just because he's hitting a bunch of just straight set pieces that are incredible, and he takes all the corners and everything. So it's crazy that we have like a 21-year-old right back that is that good at set pieces. So it's just like another weapon to add on to everything else.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, across the board, the back line's looking great, and I think the biggest improvement's Matip, and you can completely give credit to Van Dijk because of that. Because with Lovren, Matip looked completely lost. Now, how do you feel about the open of the campaign, Josh? I mean, as a whole. I mean, obviously 6-0, you're fucking happy, but like, how do you looking at it as a whole? How do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, can't have too many complaints about it. Like the biggest complaint would have been that if you was compared this to last year, that maybe our defense doesn't look as absolutely solid to start off, but that's absolutely picking nits at this point. So
yeah, we talked about it a little bit last week. It almost feels like there's a perfect meeting of the last 2 years of Liverpool football, where it was the first year it was this high-scoring, high-flying offense, but the defense was conceding like crazy, to last year where the team just seemed to live on a knife's edge and would find themselves ended up ultimately drawing a lot of games because they were just trying to be like, all right, we're going to be resolute. It seems like they're giving up a few goals, but there's a little more of that freedom on the offense. It feels like more of a give and take instead of a one or the other like the last 2 seasons it felt like.
Yeah, and I'd say for now it doesn't seem like it seems like they're more reliant up front on having Firmino in the lineup, where if he's out, if they have Origi in or Shaqiri, then they're not clicking all centers as much. So they seem much more reliant to have Firmino in the lineup and to help the entire front run like a more well-oiled machine that way.
Yeah, he's creating. He's most of the attacks are going through Firmino on all creation. It's all him, it seems, for the most part.
Yeah, after Van Dijk, he's the most important guy to have in that lineup because he makes everything else go.
All right, so let's go ahead and discuss the second goal before we get into how the second goal kind of got there, obviously, with the goal pulled back. Chelsea center backs they can't seem to. It doesn't matter what the combination is.
Yep.
They don't want to defend. They fall asleep at the wheel constantly.
Yeah, I hate to do this, but you also have to give Liverpool a little bit of credit because they have a lot of big men that they have to take care of, and you have somebody like Firmino that goes under the radar and is wide open for a 5-yard header.
But he's the center striker on a front three. If there's the one person they should cover, it should be the guy right in the fucking middle, right?
Yeah, if there's a one spot, it would probably be the front of the 6.
Right.
Right.
That's true.
Maybe that's the guy you should be marking. But what led to that was, I don't want to get too into the minutia of VAR because we can just go down a rabbit hole and never come back from it. But yet again, and this happened twice over this weekend, and it's happened multiple times, VAR reverses a call. Other team scores quickly in a pivotal part of the game that literally changes the face of the game. I mean, it's we could get into it. Let's just say this much: the offside. Offside? Was he really involved in that portion of the play? When did the pass go off his foot? How much was he? It just. Odd.
Well, I think the Mount offside was they had played it to him, then he kind of started that attack. When they played it to him, he was offside. But yeah, it's a lot of when they pull it back for VAR, it's always kind of a weird thing because it's like 30 seconds before the pivotal part of the plays even really started.
Right.
So then once they score, it just takes all the air out of the room because you're sitting there for like 30 seconds while a ref's just sitting there pointing to his ears like, "Hey, I just gotta wait for this," and then everyone else is kind of being like, all right, is it a goal or?
But what's next? Is it going all the way back to where the play started, back on defense to figure out if a guy was on the other half of the field before the ball got cleared out? Like,
get rid of it.
Like what's going to be the rule for offsides? I mean, they seem to have a very clear definition. Here's a little red line. It's in front of the blue line. You're offsides, but there's still too much interpretation to where the play happens. Now, getting away from that. do coaches need to start coaching their teams to be prepared for being on the field for a flip or a reversal in call? Because teams are getting burnt.
Yeah, I think they do. At this point, we all know soccer players the best. We can be very emotional people, especially on the
not
pitch.
you.
And I'm a shining example of that. So
That's all there is to it.
Yeah, thank you, Sam. Exactly. Way to chime in.
But yeah, I absolutely do think that at least a discussion needs to be had with the players, because this is obviously something that they didn't have to deal with growing up playing a sport.
Right.
And now we're getting this wrench thrown into the game where it completely does change the momentum and everything else involved with the flow of the game. And then you're expected to not care to the point and just keep producing.
It's you play to the whistle. Well, what if the whistle's already been blown and then you play another 30 seconds past the whistle, and
Yeah, you're gonna.
I mean, I get it. You're a professional. Get your fucking head out of your ass. Do your job. But I almost feel like, Josh, what do you think? I mean, do you think a coach needs to kind of prepare their team to be ready? You're going to get fucked over. You have to ignore it and keep going.
It feels a lot like when you're like 10, and then after you score, your coach is like, all right, now play hard for like 5 minutes. Don't let up. But so it's like they score, and then you got to wait, and then the goalie's taken off, and everyone's just like, oh, this sucks. Like, Aston sooner they're like, oh, Mount's offsides. I had a goal taken away. Like, their head is no longer in it, and meanwhile, Liverpool's going down the other end of the field and got a free kick.
And guess who gave up the free kick?
Yeah.
His
Head's still 30 yards back the other way.
Yep.
Yeah. So now, second half, credit to Chelsea. They showed life. They came back. They played well. I wouldn't discredit Liverpool so much as, I think Liverpool knew, hey, we're 2-0 on the road. Let's see this bad boy out. We're playing. They may be young, but they're good. So there was certainly opportunity, it seemed. Does Liverpool need to be concerned about the attacking left flank? So coming down the right side on Alexander-Arnold, because that's really where it seemed with Mount and Alonso really kind of just charging that side of the field.
Yeah, I think that'll just be a product of the way they play anyway, because Robertson and Alexander-Arnold are always going to be like bombing down the flanks anyway, so there's always going to be space left. So with any halfway decent team that can counterattack, there will be at least twice a game where a team's going to be coming down and Van Dijk's like pretty much defending 50 yards by himself, while their outside backs are like racing back. So there's always going to be that danger anyway, just with how they play. It just hasn't, because Van Dijk's been so good with whoever he's had in the middle, it hasn't really caught up to him too much yet.
Yeah. Now, we'll get into Liverpool a touch more when we talk about City, because let's face it, they're hand in hand. Let's close out with just the thought on Chelsea. Is it a different kind of like acceptance when you look at Chelsea's young squad that makes mistakes, does things well, seems to be getting it together? Does it seem like Frank's got more of a leash than, let's say, Man U, who is also a very young team, particularly with the injuries they have? Like, they're a really young team, but there seems to be a different patience level with what Chelsea is doing versus what Man U is doing.
Yeah, I mean, Chelsea should have a bit of a longer leash for Lampard because he has a transfer ban and his team's a lot younger. I mean, Chelsea notoriously has the shortest leash of any like big club, but Chelsea's better than their position in the table would dictate. They've just had a couple of results just didn't necessarily go their way, but I think they have talent there. I think Lampard just needs time to figure out how his proper rotation and who is his best 11 at all times.
So, as a fellow Londoner and rival, Robbie, your thoughts on Chelsea so far this season?
Yeah, I think they have. It's weird watching them, to be honest. You're used to seeing all these Chelsea legends play, and now I guess their longest tenure player right now is maybe Azpilicueta.
Yeah. Conte is considered a senior player.
It's just it's a weird thing to watch for me, at least. But I think they have the foundation to be a great team. They just need to figure, like Josh was saying, out like, who's the best 11 to put on the field. Clearly, N'Golo Kante should be on the field. As much as possible.
Yeah, coming back from the injury that certainly didn't help. But yeah, you're right. Conte needs to be on the field. That
was all by himself.
Conte needs to be the holding midfielder. Frankly, it doesn't need to be Jorginho.
Right.
You have the best holding midfielder in the world, and you have him playing on the outside, which is kind of baffling. And that's now 2 managers that are doing it. Fortunately, Conte's he's a professional, and he's
Right.
going to do his damn job. So you want to look at, there's head scratchers like giving up a 2-goal lead to Sheffield United, but hey, they could have been Everton and lost to them 2-0. So, a couple of the dark horses handle business at home against Big Six sides. Leicester City 2, Tottenham 1, West Ham 2, Manchester United 0. We already talked about the VAR a little bit, but Spurs were cruising till
Fuck
that
VAR.
call.
I love
precisely.
VAR.
Yeah, I don't think Sam Graham would have appreciated the use of his fuck VAR in that moment.
No.
because it fucked over Spurs. So he probably
Absolutely.
loves VAR.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Oh, you'll definitely.
It was like
you're
a
gonna,
3
You're going to hear
millimeter
something
difference.
about production.
I don't have a button that says I love VAR. All
we'll
I've
have
got
to
from
record
him is
that.
fuck VAR.
Yeah. That second goal counts. That game's over, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The game's over.
Yeah.
And the response again, Leicester responds almost immediately with
Yeah,
a
they
goal.
scored within 3 minutes, I think.
Peach of a goal.
Just Jamie F. and Vardy being Jamie F. and Vardy charging down the
Jamie
field.
F. and Vardy.
Well, it was James Madison that
Yeah.
scored that second.
That's-
And he had a great
Oh.
game. He's a stud. I really like what he does.
So I brought this up about Leicester a few weeks back. Madison and Tielemans kind of feel like Mahrez and Conte. That's like it's not the same as that team that won the league, but this team's got legs. This team is good.
It probably would have the same odds that they did when they won the Premier League that year.
I kind of feel like this team is going to be battling for 4th place. I feel like they're going to be there. Like there's a good chance this team could be seeing Champions League soccer next year.
Brendan Rodgers is a great manager to get them there too. So I would have
the
to
right,
agree. Yeah.
He's the right guy with the right personnel playing the right style of system. That
Yep.
team likes to counterattack. Jamie Vardy likes to fucking run. Makes perfect sense.
Yep.
Now, I don't know what Brendy's proclivities are towards cocaine, Red Bull, and vodka, but, we do. It's funny. We always say Vardy does a ton of coke, and there's no proof that he does.
Right.
We just assume because he parties like a lunatic, he gets into fights,
Yep.
that we just assume he's a cokehead.
Do I need to add a legal disclaimer that the opinions expressed here reflect nobody of right mind?
If anybody at all is taking us seriously,
Yeah.
they need mental help.
Yeah.
They
Please
should be
don't.
seeking a professional.
Please don't send your lawyers. We already accused him of doing coke and banging my chicken.
Josh, how deep do the problems seem at Spurs?
It's weird because Pochettino just seems like he kind of sort of does the same thing every time, every game. He puts out his kind of standard starting 11, and then if he gets a goal up, then he kind of tries to just see it out, make a defensive sub. But there's never. It's always really reactionary from him, in terms of he'll just let the players on the field try to see a game out, but he never makes a dynamic move before the other team does anything to try to maybe go on and push for a second goal. Or he always just wants to try to see a game out and say okay, and then if it doesn't work, it comes back in the post game. He's like, well, players kind of didn't fit with the system, or they didn't do as we were kind of told, sort of thing.
So I'm going to completely steal this from another show that I listened to, but they brought up a really good point. Do we think maybe they've hit their ceiling, like getting to a Champions League final? Maybe in their brains, these guys are kind of thinking, okay, that's about what we expected to do.
I sure as hell hope so.
I'm sure you hope so. That maybe because this team has always been, when you talk about like the top 6, this has always been the 5th or 6th place team. This is now the 3rd place team. Have they finally hit the ceiling? It's like, because all the talent's there. It's not like they've changed. If anything, they picked up good pieces to improve their lineup. So there's no reason why they shouldn't be performing, but they aren't. Is it a disconnected manager? Is it the style that they're playing? Is it Pochettino's reactionary managing? It seems weird to be watching this from the outside looking in and not having a dog in the fight. It just seems weird.
Yeah, and you kind of look like Dele Alli probably improved necessarily that much in the last year or so. You already know Eriksson kind of wants out to go get a different challenge. Kane was already good, so I'm not sure how much more of a up a level he can really get to.
Yeah.
He had a great finish in this game, but so between him, you have him. Like Son's probably been the most improved over the last year or so. But
that's probably the one highlight of the team, and Lucas Moura is figuring out how to score when he's called upon.
Yeah, and Lucas Moura has probably been like their one real addition in the last couple of years for their basic core that they've had. And beyond that, Hugo Lloris is getting older, so they're going to eventually have to replace him. So they've been a really good team, but they've never really made too many dynamic moves to then improve upon that.
Now, moving on to West Ham, Hammers are fucking rolling. Lose the first match, and then from there they haven't dropped any. They haven't lost any games since. They've been playing well. The team's a well-oiled machine. It just feels like they've got the right manager, the right setup of players, and they bossed Man United. They flat out bossed them.
Yeah, they finally feel like they actually know kind of what system they want to play and what kind of identity they want to have as a team.
Completely responding to Pellegrini.
Yeah.
Like, they look good.
And Manchester United's lost. I don't think... I was watching the highlights of that game, and Yarmolenko's goal. David De Gea was more worried about the offsides call than he was being a goalie.
Right.
I mean, I think he would have had a chance to at least get his fingertips on that ball if he didn't worry about raising his hand to call offsides. And it was just really poor timing on his part.
Well, the one thing that they do with Yarmolenko that's very interesting is they put him on the opposite side of the field of his strong foot. So he plays the right. So when he's coming into goal, his left is at goal. And, he scored a scorcher against Everton last year doing that, where he just kind of cut in. This was the same thing. It was, he got it to the strong foot. The strong foot was inside the goal, and he just put, he, even though the ball was kind of skirting away from him a little bit, he's got the power to put it away. I guess I was saying it on the Hammers TV show that I did, is everybody pays attention to Anderson because he's just an incredibly well-skilled player. You don't realize this monster on the other side of the field that has a cannon in his leg. He's huge and physical, and he's actually fast as well. It's like you don't even pay attention to it, and it's like, that guy on the other side's really fucking good
sounds
too.
Like somebody you knew a couple years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Actually sounds like a retired DU player that I'm talking to across the table right now.
Except I wasn't really fast.
Except for he would never play the right side of the field. He'd always play the left side of the field and run down the left side of the field and use his left foot no matter how many fucking times I'd tell him, Rob, play on the right side of the field. Your left foot will be on the inside of the goal. Sure thing, Sam. Right back over to the left-hand side of the field.
Did I have a problem scoring? Or what's the issue here?
So, I got to tell you, with both of these teams, both Leicester and West Ham, we kind of been talking about the dark horses, and to a lesser extent, we had included Wolverhampton and Everton in that discussion. And until the last 2 weeks for Everton, I would have continued to have them in that discussion. And frankly, in defense of Wolverhampton, playing Europa doesn't help your current situation. This is going to be a broken record because I've said it multiple times on the show, but I want to get your guys' opinion as well. As far as 1 and 2 go, it's defined. 3 and 4, it's probably Arsenal and Tottenham, but 5, 6, all the way to 10. Why can't Leicester be 4th? Why can't West Ham be 5th? Why can't Chelsea finish in 10th? Why can't United finish in 10th? Like it seems like the separation is much more narrower now amongst the top clubs in the league.
Yeah, a lot more parity from like 6 down to 10. Because now, like Chelsea's young, so they'd have to they're good, but they're inconsistent. Man U has no idea what they actually want to do, and then Everton can be good, but they're too inconsistent for that.
Yep.
Leicester, as long as they can keep their people in mass and still plays as well as he is, they can absolutely challenge for a top 4.
Absolutely. And
there's a
West Ham's there
there's
too.
a 3-point spread from 3rd in the table right now to 12th.
Yeah.
So
it's some
it's
of
still
it
a little too early to make these calls. But.
Yeah, I think as the season rolls on, you're going to see Everton and Wolverhampton get it right and move up the table more.
Yeah.
But when you see somebody like Leicester up at the top right now, you're like, yeah, they're going to stick around. And
Yeah.
you see West Ham up there, you're like, yeah, they're going to stick around. You see Bournemouth up there, and you're like, Bournemouth's up there every time. They're going to fade.
Right.
But like something feels different, and it's also like a guy like say, Felipe Anderson had no desire to leave. There's not the calling of the big six as much as there used to be anymore.
Right.
Players are willing to stay with their clubs, and that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, like I don't know who would necessarily want to go after Felipe Anderson, even though he's very good. But yeah, if Man U's coming after him, he's going to look at their situation and West Ham's situation and say, I don't know what the benefit is for me to leave. You don't.
Right.
You're not really playing in Europe, and you guys have no idea what you're doing.
Unless City or Liverpool come for him, why the fuck would James Madison want to leave?
Yeah, and even
Leicester.
then,
There's
it's
no
like
reason. There's no reason to.
He's playing every week at Leicester already. So
And he's going to get an English. He got an England call up. He's going to play on the English team. So why?
Yeah, there's no benefit for him to leave.
Real quickly, and then we'll wrap it up here on Manchester United. For the most part, it just seems like the team doesn't really care to play. I mean, the new signings are doing their job. Bissaka's looked good and professional, and Maguire's looked good and professional, and David James has been really great as a young player. But the rest of the team just doesn't seem to have any inspiration. When Pogba comes back, will his ego help or hurt this team?
I feel like it can only hurt because if the team's already not good, his head's not going to be in it.
Yeah, I think maybe they'll get a boost for a game or two, and then they'll fade like it always has with him. And
Yeah, I almost feel like he's going to walk onto the field, be like, all right, well, you all sucked while I was gone. Now you will be brilliant because I am here. I'm not going to chase anybody. I'm not going to do anything, but you all are now better because I am here.
This hurts to say it, Houston,
Yeah?
but he is Ozil to Arsenal.
Yeah. Yes.
I hate saying
yes.
that, obviously, because that's used to be one of my favorite players.
Yeah,
But
he's
just
a
toxic.
crutch.
Yeah.
He's a crutch. How much longer does
it
Ole...
was like Arsenal 5 years ago.
Well said, Graham. Well said. How much longer does Ole have?
He might at least get the season because I feel like they'd be scared of doing another reset like in the middle of the year again, because then that's just going to start their process over again. So they might want to try to have him at least see out the year, maybe get through a transfer window, see if they bring anyone in.
Where do you think they're going to finish, Rob?
I think they could still finish top 6.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You think they've got the talent to do it?
I do. I think actually I have a question. Is Rashford out with injury? Because I saw he left early,
Yeah,
but
it hurt his groin.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And Martial's
so that's
still not
that's
100%.
huge. So maybe I should retract that previous statement. Maybe it's not top 6, but they're definitely going to be in the top half.
So we often joke whenever City loses a match where we go, oh, I don't want to be the next team that plays City. Holy fuck. I don't want to be the next team that plays City, Watford. Fucking City 8, Watford fucking 0. Jesus, boys.
Finally, a football score.
It's almost too much to recap. I mean,
God,
you can go over the first
God.
5 goals in the first 20 minutes and spend a half an hour.
Fucking dumpster fire.
Yes. That was Mike Ashley was there with Watford going, you know what? This is how you manage a club. Let me tell you how you do it here. This is what you do.
Set it on fire.
Fucking hell. I'm watching my game, obviously, and I'm just looking at the highlights, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, they're already up at the 20-minute mark. They're up 5-0.
Right.
And everyone's scoring. Everyone. It's like, you score a goal, and you score a goal, and you score a goal.
It's the latest episode of Oprah.
Scores a goal. Fucking insanity. There's no need to get into all the craziness and minutia of it. I really have one big question. Since I've got a Liverpool supporter here, you're off to a great start. Things are going really well. And then you see your direct competition do shit like that. It's got to be concerning, right? You got to be, you got to focus on you, but you go, fuck, they're capable of doing that?
Yeah, it's like it's a cross between the fact that I think Watford still hasn't really gotten out of the Wembley locker room from the FA Cup final when they got smashed, and then it's just Kevin De Bruyne is just that good. Like when he's turning the screws, there's no one in the EPL that's better than him.
And then it just leaves guys like Bernardo Silva and David Silva free to do
Yeah,
whatever
and-
they want.
And if you're going to give Kevin De Bruyne 10 yards of space on the wing, he's going to pick a ball out on a dime, and you're going to give up goals all day.
And again, a bunch of tap-ins from inside the 6. This is what I mean. To poke fun at your team, but to not poke fun at your team. A lot of your fans are like, at the end of last season, well, we scored more goals from outside the 18, and we should get double points for that. No, City just would touch the ball in on the goal line regularly. That's just how they beat people. What's more insulting, an amazing shot from outside the 18 that goes in the upper 90s, or a guy just standing on your goal line with nobody around you smiling at you as he touches it in with his heel?
That's what Kiko did. He just stood there.
Like, it's just insane.
Dude, it's like if you watch that game, it's like if Pep just happened to wander out into the field, he could have had Bernardo Silva's hat trick the same way. Just like tap-ins from the goal line because Watford had no care to defend.
You could have scored a hat trick in that game.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have scored a hat trick in that game. It was just it's insanity. Is Watford going down?
If they don't change anything, yeah. Like they haven't. I don't know who's going to score for them. I don't know who's going to defend for them. Like they giving up 8 goals is so hard to do almost because you'd have like 5-0 in the first 20 minutes. That's like after that they're already checked out.
It could have been a dozen.
Yeah.
Frickin' Ben Foster made 4 amazing saves in that game. It could have been worse.
It's
it
embarrassing.
Could have been worse.
It's embarrassing. That's a FIFA score that you play on PS4 or Xbox. It's not a
I wonder
common score.
So you bring in Kike Flores to improve the defense, and you give up 8 goals. Like, okay, so this board notoriously has a short leash with coaches. They've gone through, I think it's 9 and 8 years. Does this team find themselves going through 3 managers this season even?
I don't know what I don't know what change the manager even do at this point. It's that it has when it's 8-0, it has to be on the players because when it gets to that point, that's like when like teams just start like counting out passes before they even like try to take a shot.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just unreal to see, and it's a scoreline you just look at and you go, how in the fuck did that happen? Like, this is professional fucking sports, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you're at 6s
one of the
and
reasons
7s.
Yeah, exactly. They were at 6s and 7s.
One of the reasons it makes me so fucking mad is that they drew us
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they have the potential to be, I don't know, maybe top 15 squad max. And I think that's ultimately where they'll end because I'm hoping that Aston Villa continues their downward spiral and stays in the bottom 3.
Hey,
Oh, wow. Somebody rooting. Like, Sam and I are both rooting for Villa to stay up. We're just happy to see him back up in the league again. So we're rooting for him to stay up. But damn. Okay. Hey, remember,
Shots fired.
you liked. Yeah. Not
That was
the only
a dig.
not the only shot you're going to be seeing tonight. Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, yes, go ahead, darling.
I can't find my mute button. I'm like, you're talking big like a man that doesn't have his own shot to do.
Oh, I know. I definitely have my own shot to do. I'll just close it on this. I mean, Watford managed to score 2 goals on your shitty defense, and hell, City's defense is just as shitty as yours, and they managed to get a shutout. Rounding out the rest of the week so that happened. Bournemouth 3, Southampton 1 on the Friday Night Light game. Burnley 2, Norwich 0. Brighton 0, Newcastle 0 in the game that we all took a fucking nap. Palace 1, Wolverhampton 1. Arsenal 3, Mel's Aston Villa 2. Sheffield United 2, Everton 0. 2 weeks ago, we were talking about the Cherries having a tough go of it and looked like they were in trouble, and then they got to, face Everton, which, of course, they beat. And then Southampton this week, who is consistently the most inconsistent team in the league. And next thing you know, they're now in 5th place again, like they seem to be every fucking season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Bournemouth's counter attack was just too strong.
Yeah.
They just exposed them. I think all 3 goals were on a counterattack.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It just seems like I'm just not sold on Southampton, but Southampton seems to get the right wins in the right places. They beat Brighton, they beat Villa. They beat the team they need to beat because that's the team that's going to be battling them for 17th and 18th place, it seems.
I do root for Southampton to stay up just because we like pillaging their players. But
That's right. LFC's youth academy,
Yeah.
Southampton.
But yeah, then on the other side, I do like Terry Wilson keeps scoring. He's had a pretty good season so far while on loan from Liverpool.
So Burnley pulls a Burnley. Hey, by the way, we're going to score 2 quick counterattacking goals in the first 15 minutes. Fuck you, Pookie. You're not going to get the ball at all, and we're going to win 2-0.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got Burnley. That's what Burnley does to you.
You got wood.
Burnley was better at playing their game than Norwich was at playing theirs.
Yeah, it's just very simple. Brighton tied Newcastle 0-0.
Feels about right.
Yeah. And it was ugly.
And
Very generic.
And you know what?
No.
That's the comprehensive coverage we have for
Yeah.
Brighton versus Newcastle this week. So Palace at home, they're pretty deplorable. They figure out a way to somehow luck into a 1-0 lead on an own goal, only to give it away at the very end. And I forget the player that saw the double yellow.
Saeed.
Yeah.
You know Zaha is going to go down. You know you can only get away with it so much. After you've hacked him once and you've gotten the yellow, you can't do it again. It doesn't matter how fucking light it is. The fucking second yellow is coming. Like,
Yep.
That was a Sam
How?
Graham special.
Oh, yeah.
Sam Graham special.
He
And
ran
he
him from the back.
probably would have argued it too.
Just said, fuck
I hate
you.
that
You're
shit.
not- You're not going
yeah,
any further.
exactly. Graham does hate that shit. Again, Wolves, they just need the first win. But it doesn't look like it's coming. Like, I mean, great. They got Watford next. Watch Watford get their shit together next week. Like, it's they're doing great in Europe, which is key. We were talking with Paul, who's our Wolves supporter down in Houston last week, and it's like, hang on to that, brother, because that's what you got right
you
now.
got, yep.
You know, just hope the boys keep doing well in Europe. You get out of the group stages and you advance in the knockout stages, because this season's going to be a dog, and there's only going to be slight little tiny glimpses of brilliance that'll make you real happy. Like, you know, you'll beat Arsenal at the Emirates, and you'll be like, how the fuck did that happen? You know, while you lose to Sheffield at home. I mean, that's just what it's going to be for them.
Yep.
So looking into the Arsenal Villa game, wow, you guys really wanted to give that game away, didn't you?
We tried our best. Yeah,
It just would have been brilliant.
I had 911 dialed up at halftime.
You
'cause
know, I was at a baby shower, so I couldn't watch the game live,
Oh.
but I kept checking the scores on my phone, and I'm just giggling my ass
Yeah,
off.
I was expecting a text. I'm not
Every
gonna lie.
time I looked, I just started giggling, and I had a whole bit planned of like showing me drinking a glass of sangria, going, "Well, this is my beverage this week," and
Yep.
then, fuck.
What a comeback.
Yeah.
Especially after even more adversity after they scored the second goal.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that was an immediate response.
yeah.
You got to be kicking yourself in the ass for that one. You're down a man. You battle back to get the draw, and then within 2 minutes you gave up the next goal. Like, you gave it right back to him.
Yep. Yeah, it was.
I like this, Rob. Thank you for sharing it with me. This is now a button on my board.
That is apparently
very catchy.
That apparently is a villain's song.
That is a villain
It's
song.
very catchy.
All the villainesses sing it.
All of the Lanises in the club.
Now, Rob, if that's away from the Emirates, do you lose that match?
Knowing our track record, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, we would lose. Yeah, absolutely.
That's solace you taken that, Mel, is
Yeah,
at home.
absolutely.
You probably figure out a way to hold on to
We
that.
still have a lot to figure out in the back.
I mean, it wasn't terrible. I mean, there was a good effort going. We're still getting to know one another and getting used to everything. And we put up a good fight.
Dude,
We
Jack
put up a
Grealish
fight.
is
Oh,
It's a
yeah.
game. It's a
a
game you're
beast.
supposed to lose.
Yeah.
It's a game you're supposed to
Yeah.
lose, and you lost it.
Well, Graham had the bet. What was it? 4-0.
Yeah,
4-0 he had it going. So we definitely beat his bet. So I'm happy with that at least.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
That's the only solace I can take when swallowing that bitter, bitter shot of Malort.
Oh, it's coming.
So, Rob, are you going to be okay with the fact that your team is going to win every game 5-3 this season?
Yeah, as long as they
Sam.
keep winning them.
Fuck off.
Yeah, I mean,
No, as long as they keep winning them, I could care less. But it is extremely frustrating to watch our back four.
all right, you got to
Underperform. I'm sorry. It's just so David Luiz should not be a freaking gooner.
You replaced it.
It's so infuriating. I wish Chelsea would just take him back.
How
Is there a
about
return policy? Like,
No takebacks.
I was a pretty I thoroughly enjoyed Socrates being on the ground, then wrapping his arms around the leg like a little kid would do to their dad, like arms and legs around, and then when he couldn't shake him free, he just grabbed his face like he magically got kicked. I'm like,
Headbutt his own fist.
I'm like, dude, you're supposed to be like the hard man back
Yeah,
there.
he
Why are you
he
being
looks like a big,
such a
badass
little
Greek.
pansy? Like,
That was daft.
no, there was
That's-
nothing
that's-
daft about it.
yeah, that's-
So, I mean, I think it's probably time that we get to the more important moment of this evening, which is we're going to go ahead
too
and
much
let,
more of this. I'm going to start drinking it as a martini.
yeah, you know.
I might develop a taste for it. Oh,
There we
thank
go.
you. Yeah, well, you know what, Sam?
Sammy, time for old Mike Ashley, son.
Yes. As we lead into my game as well, we've got Josh here pouring my shot. I figure, honey, after the many years of marital bliss we have had together, I think it's very important that we do a shot together because
You know what, Houston? If I had to do a shot this week, at least you have to too.
oh, why thanks. I was trying to actually be fucking sweet.
I'm not ever.
So allow me to say the following: a marriage that malorts together stays together.
Sorry, you guys had to hear that pound on the table. That is an old bartender's toast. Whenever you toast your glasses, you then pound it on the table. It's giving a toast to the house, which I guess we're just toasting each other and ourselves with that, but still. And
I'm a
yeah.
self-indulgent prick. I got no problem
Alan
with that.
and Taylor and all of the Villanista fans out there, I am developing a taste for this. So pretty soon I'll take your power away from you.
I'm surprised you didn't say Taylor. Note, though, she had to actually chase it. I'm used to the bitterness being married to her. So, I mean, all right. So let's go ahead and get into Sheffield United versus Everton. So Everton completely dominates the match except for one thing. They decide to not actually go at goal at all. None. Just let's pass the ball around the 18 because that's apparently
That's
what'll
just
fucking
Arsenal
work.
to a T, basically. You know,
Yeah.
even though you're talking about Everton.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
well, I mean, Everton scored as many goals as Sheffield did, and they still managed to lose somehow.
Yeah, I know.
I love
The fucking
watching
own
little
goal.
Arsenal, junior Arsenal, the people that couldn't cut it, when I see your team.
So, I think the most frustrating part of it all.
I like how he just keeps on going.
I'm just, look, I expect it, and it's only a matter of time before the fucking red starts chiming in with shit too. Trust me.
It sucks when your team sucks.
You'll never walk alone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'd prefer walk alone. Thank you very much, you fuck offs. I got the three of you bagging on me, and I'm here all by myself, walking alone. Thank you.
All because of
So-
Tim Howard.
Yeah.
Thanks, guy.
Yeah. Oh no, the team drew me in. And Evertonians are born, not manufactured. And
could've
while
been
at a
United
very
fan
old
first.
age,
That's cute.
while at an older age, I was reborn in the image of a shitty team that likes to finish in the middle of the table every year.
Speaking of which, let's start wrapping this up because the Redskins play tonight.
Talking about mediocrity, the Skins play tonight. So here's my thought process on it, boys. Is let's look at what West Ham and Leicester are doing, and then let's look at what Everton's doing. All three teams have pretty good lineups. They've made good signings. They've brought in good players. I think the biggest difference between the three teams, Brendan Rodgers managed Liverpool. Manuel Pellegrini managed Manchester City. Marco Silva managed Watford.
Yeah.
We keep bringing on the quote-unquote up-and-coming manager. We did it with Koeman at Southampton. We did that with Martinez at a relegated Wigan. And we kind of keep expecting this team to suddenly break the top six and become amazing. And it's maybe what we need is an established manager. I mean, I can't believe I'm about to utter these words. Maybe we fucking need Jose Mourinho. Like, I mean, maybe that's the shit we need. Maybe we need an established manager who's going to look these guys in the face and go, no, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to change things. This is what we're going to do to be successful. Because right now, Silva seems to be set on one thing. We're going to go with one striker up top. We're going to go with Gylfi Sigurdsson just off of him. Gylfi has had a shit season the whole fucking season so far. Yeah, I mean, I assume Tom Davies fucked Marco's mother, and that's why he's not getting on the fucking pitch. Because that game this weekend screamed, add energy. Who's the fucking energy on our team? Tom Davies. You bring out the kid, you let him run around like a fucking lunatic. Who cares if he gets a yellow card? Like, just do something to change the impact of the game. And every week, it's the striker and it's the off striker with the two wings behind him and two central defending midfielders. Maybe we shouldn't be expecting the 19-year-old to carry it all on his back. Maybe we need two strikers. But this manager doesn't want to change the fucking lineup. All right, I've been ranting. Please tell me your thoughts.
How's Iwobi turning out for you?
He actually is playing well. He's 2 goals in 4 games. He's played well. He's creative. He's doing stuff. So
the opposite of Theo Walcott.
Yeah. When Theo comes on the pitch, you're just like, that's because Marco hates Tom Davies that much that he just keeps putting Theo Walcott. Which also now, there was a lot of rumor of Lookman not being particularly good in practice and not really working hard, and that's why Walcott constantly got playing time. I can't imagine the story is the same for Tom Davies, who's been, he was a fucking captain last year on this team. And how he's not on the pitch, it baffles me. And now Andres Gomez is out indefinitely with his rib injury, and JPEG is at least another month and a half away from being healthy. So what, we're going to go with Schneiderlin every fucking week? Like, how about we move Sigurdsson back and go to a 4-4-2 and run Calvert-Lewin and Keane up top? Why not change it? Why not change it? And I hate to say it, a fucking League Cup game against Sheffield Wednesday is now a must fucking win game for this team. No, that's the Owls. That's the fuck the Owls. Nice try. Oh, okay. Again, please interject, boys.
You also have to remember. So Sheffield is actually unbeaten away this year. They also drew Chelsea 2-2 at Stamford Bridge. So I think it was one of those trap games for you guys, where I think most of you thought you should have won that game, but the perfect storm happened.
You're a kinder co-host. You're a kinder co-host than Graham, because Graham would have been like, "Fuck off, you suck." So, well, Josh, your thoughts?
I'm a better person than Graham.
Yeah, it feels like, especially if you're comparing yourself to the West Hams and Leicesters, feels like you lack that quality, like the one person in your team that can just change a game on their own. Whereas Leicester has Madison and West Ham has a Felipe Anderson. I would say maybe you have Richarlison, but even he is like, does it sometimes, but he's a little too inconsistent to be still on that level.
That's also
I think that's what it is.
That's a Marco
just too
thing.
much inconsistency.
That's another Marco thing. I wouldn't expect you guys to know like all the intricacies of a shitty middle of the table team, but he played on the left all last year, and that's where he was successful. Where's he playing? He's playing on the right, because Marco's convinced he needs someone on the left that's right-footed and someone on the right that's left-footed, and that is how it has to be. Right. Well, how about just put your studs where they do best? Like, let your stars be stars where they're stars. Just let them do their fucking job. I would say we've already spent enough time talking about this bullshit. So, and now we get to play fucking City next. Watch us fucking beat them. Watch us beat them just to confuse me. Confuse me and help this fucking son of a bitch. It's time to tell you what little we know. It is prediction time. Fuck you, Liverpool. Seriously. I actually bet on you for once. All you need to do is, I don't know, have your top goal scorer score a fucking goal. Can't score a fucking goal. Thanks a lot. I'm pretty convinced that somehow someone got the news to Mo Salah that there was an Evertonian betting on him to score, and they were like, well, fuck it. Somebody else score, because we need to ruin this guy's betting streak, right? Yeah. I hold you personally responsible, Josh. It's your fault. Exactly. So, Pat hit on his, frankly, very, very safe bet to say that Liverpool was going to win. But I'm a little bit concerned about Graham because he's doing all these crazy-ass parlays and he keeps losing.
He's a degenerate.
Chasing.
He's 600 in the hole. I mean, I lost, so I'm now $1.90 down, but he's 6 in the hole, man. He is not looking good. Not at all, man. I'm a little concerned about him. So
He has a problem.
yeah, he does. So
I hate that shit.
yeah.
That's why we're best friends.
So Rob, you got a pick for me this week?
Yeah, I do actually. I'm going to go with the Chelsea Brighton draw.
Okay.
I think
Chelsea Brighton
I think
draw.
Brighton's going to
Is that at
show
Brighton?
up. No, it's at Chelsea. It's at Stamford Bridge.
Okay, got it. You think Chelsea falls asleep at the wheel after the big match? Okay.
I do. I like what I see out of Sheffield too. Or I'm sorry, Brighton.
Okay, very good, very good. How about Josh? What you got?
I'm taking Watford to get a win at the Molineux over at Wolves.
Ooh,
They got an extra day of rest with League Cup this week because I think Wolves plays on Wednesday, Watford plays on Tuesday, and then they have to have some kind of response after getting drubbed. You can't possibly be that bad.
Wow. Okay, that's crazy. And I think that's a plus 300
Plus
for
300.
yours. Yeah, very nice. So it's as customary, we have our Sports Direct mug here, and it's very important that I feed the cup of losers. So I'm going to feed it with Big Sam's.
Rob, you know that tradition, right?
They
They adopted it from the Preakness days.
Every time. Yep.
Fill
do
in the
the
cup of
Yes, I remember
losers.
that.
So this one reads Big Sam's fuck off Mo. So that's that one is the fuck off Mo. And then this is I think actually more a cry for help is Graham sucks ass at betting. So it just I feel for the boy, and at some point in time, I mean, maybe like horse racing, he needs to wear his stupid little fucking hat that he wears and become like the
Rally cap.
it's one of those douchey
You mean
hats
the
that like
horse
douchebags
aficionado,
wear.
Mr. Sam Graham?
Exactly, and then we call him the horse racing aficionado. So
As long
Like
as he
I s-
doesn't wear his kilt.
yeah, exactly. Well, if he wears his kilt, let's face it, I'm gonna ball tap him the entire day because he deserves that. So, what we got coming up now? So it's time for us
And
to.
now, it's time for our degenerate gambling friend Pat's Pick of the Week.
That is a professional that hears the hit and immediately cuts off to let it be said. So I'm just going to go ahead and right off the jump tell our degenerate gambling friend Pat to fuck himself right in the ass as much as humanly possible. Easiest pick in the world. Man City manhandles Everton. Take the -1.5 for -120. Sorry, Sam, you'll be drinking Malort again next week as Man City probably takes care of the spread in the first half, and you'll have a relaxing second half just waiting for the refs to blow the whistle. They have covered the last
Damn.
three times, and
this
he
isn't about
sees
money
them
anymore. This is
covering
personal. This is
four
personal.
in a row.
How's his record been?
It's pretty good. He's 4-1. He's at kitty level. He's definitely at kitty level.
Yeah, but
Now-
based on that bet, has he won like $2?
well, no, he had some bigger bets, and then
Alright.
he took a bad beat, and he's been playing safe to get himself
Oh boy,
just
to even.
over.
scared
Yeah.
money don't make money.
No.
Yeah, I think Sam Graham should take a.
Scared money has you 600 in the hole.
Yeah, Graham should take a hit.
I'm gonna say the following.
You saw when Graham was in England, he bet for Everton to win, and as soon as that came up, I was like, Sam, your buddy just screwed you.
Pat, I'm going to give you a twofer here. So, I will have to do a shot of Malort. I'm going to. We're probably going to lose, but when we lose 2-1, and you don't cover the spread, how about you bring your happy ass over here on Monday night and do a shot of Malort with me on air, and at the same time, you can go ahead and collect your cool $10 that Mr. Graham still owes you and has been trying to avoid you. Now, what's more important? I do go down to 190, but it could be worse. I could be Graham. So, for this...
Big Sam's Lock of the Week.
Yeah, that's right. We got
I love that shit.
production. I am going to take Norwich City to beat Palace at plus 275. I think a nice, simple, safe bet. Get me right back over everything and watch Palace then decide to fuck me.
Who's home in that one?
I believe it is Palace's home, and Palace is horrible at home. So, now if we gave you that, gentlemen, that would be enough, right? This is a pretty good segment, right?
We want more.
Yeah, we give you Kitty the chicken.
All right, see, I like Josh's like getting in with the music. Can you believe Sam Graham doesn't feel this shit? Like Josh is over here like raving out with us.
Graham bitches
Rob's
about
not
it.
sure if he's going to get into it or not. Like Rob's like, I don't know how I feel about this.
I know.
All
Kitty
right.
likes to hang out with Pickford. Get the rave on, baby.
So, Kitty was very boisterous now that she is 5-1. So I decided to give Kitty a tougher match this week. So I asked her to pick between West Ham, who is traveling to the Vitality to face Bournemouth.
Ooh.
Now, Kitty is very aware that the Cherries are tough out at home,
They're rock stars at home.
but she pulled up her YouTube page and showed me the spot she did on Carpool Karaoke.
No shit. She was
Oh,
on
yeah.
the Late Late Show?
She was there with James Gordon, and I don't know if you remember the episode is where they had a Def Leppard's guitarist, Phil Collin, and they were singing Pour Some Sugar on Me.
No shit. I mean, they could have been like with Katy Perry too, because she's a big West Ham fan as well.
So obviously, Kitty thinks the Hammers are going to keep it rolling with a win this weekend.
All right. Well, Kitty's been on fire. I mean, if you're betting Kitty, you're betting the money. You're fucking winning, right?
It's Kitty joining the firm. She's getting in
You know.
the Green Street Hooligans.
She should.
She's everywhere. That bitch gets around. So just remember, people, every week, gamble responsibly and legally.
So, when your knee hurts 2 years after your last game, you might be getting too old for this shit.
I know. The
Yeah.
retired former Drunkard United player
It's
across
just
the way from us.
the
here.
rocket on my left leg just caused too much damage internally. And
Carrying the team just from your left leg became too much.
The
Yeah.
assurance on his leg was too much for the club to carry.
That's
Damn straight.
That's okay. You've been replaced. Josh, how you doing tonight?
He's a righty. He's just too normal. He's a righty.
yeah, but he carries the team, so it's fine.
Yeah, that's
Well, last week we actually picked up like a ringer because we were like,
Oh, I know.
we were like down. We needed another person, so we picked the guy that played the game before, and I think he scored like the first 5 goals.
Four, and
Yeah.
then you had 2, and then there was that header to Craig, right, and that made it 7.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah,
But-
so we ended up with a tie.
Yeah, we picked up the point. You know,
Yeah, it was good. But the team wasn't great, but I mean, did we even have a sub, or
no,
we were just going to
didn't have a sub.
So-
And the guy who filled in for us was so tired by the end of the game that he was just laying on the field. So another guy took over for him
Hey, like-
as he went off. So like the 5 of us, including Jake in the net, the 4 that were there, like you guys played the whole match and you basically played defense and then tried to counterattack.
Yeah, 'cause he didn't really play defense to start with, which was fine because if you're scoring 4 goals, you don't really play defense, I guess. The Rob Holmes special, but but like it was fine because then then I think he had to leave because his ride was leaving, so we're like, all right, well fuck, so we're down a man for like a couple minutes, then we picked up another guy for the last 2 minutes to kind of just see out a tie. So
Yeah, it was. I mean, we ran out of gas, but I mean, all things considered, fuck it, I'll take it.
Not Drunkard United.
I mean, we played less than Iron Man. We added an extra player that we just threw up top to try to see what we can do, and we still managed 7 goals. So
we had some bangers of goals too. We had
Oh,
some
my
nice
God.
goals.
I was waiting for Houston to take credit for the good coaching after that statement. He was like, but they had me coaching. So.
Honestly, I give the boys credit because normally whenever I say pack it in, let them play into you. Normally, what happens is this one over here and Pat start running up all around the top end of the field and chasing people, and I'm like, no, pack it in. They actually did what I said, and they packed it in, and it worked.
Oh yeah.
So, it's what it is. You know what? We haven't lost yet in the league, which in Division 1, normally by this time, we've lost a couple, 2 games in.
Yep.
Better
So-
start than last season.
Exactly. Much better. So, that's about it. So, Josh, thank you so much for joining us again, man. Appreciate it.
Oh, it was always a pleasure.
Now I don't have to talk about Liverpool again for the next 3 weeks because, we went ahead and let you talk about them for 30 seconds.
That's okay.
Got any...
That was a dig.
Yeah, it was.
We're all done.
Got any parting words?
Nah, I think I'm all right. Let's go City.
I actually have a quick parting word.
Sure.
I just wanted to point out, because I got distracted for a moment by our Facebook group page. Yes, you can find us on Facebook at Drunkard DU Football Show. But we also have a private group called the Drunkard United Football Club. Where we've been doing a lot of shit talking, sharing of videos. And so if you're on Facebook and you want to partake in the shit talking.
Do they make fun of Sam Graham?
They do all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
Invite.
All the time. And
Invite.
Taylor, who is my arch nemesis, but tonight he's my ally in the Lord, posted a picture of him taking a shot tonight in solidarity. So we got all sorts of those kind of hijinks happening. So find the Drunkard United Football Club and come on in and have some fun.
Yep. Only thing we ask is no politics and no bullshit, and have thick
a
skin.
little bit of bullshit, a tiny little bit of bullshit.
Well, you know what I mean with the bullshit. No racist bullshit. Like just have fun, be jackasses, bust balls. It's fun to do. So, Robbie, thanks so much for joining, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Did an excellent job tonight, sir. You have any parting words? You want to tell Sam he's replaceable?
He's not. He's very good at what he does, and I'll give him his props when he's due. He can talk his ass off. He has his whole life. I hate being on the phone with him. Love you, bro.
He does wear his heart on his sleeve. So, Rob, when I'm gone in December, because I'm going to be gone the week in December of Christmas. So when there's 20 games being played, I'm going to go on a cruise with my wife's family because I hate myself.
He's going to spend Christmas in the middle of the Caribbean with his mother-in-law.
I'm out.
Fuck, I hate myself. So when I'm gone, you should sit in with Sammy and do the show a couple of times with him, help him out.
I'm in.
Excellent. So outside of that, boys and girls, thank you so much for joining us again. To any of the Gunner fans that Sam met over the past weekend while he was out in London, and also to all of the American Hammers that checked us out on YouTube, please, I hope you enjoyed yourself tonight. Reach out to us on the social media platforms. We love to chat, love to have fun, and till next week, everybody. Good night.
Bless your cotton dick.